sessions. Just to make sure we are helping you as best as we can, we have a chat box to source all your questions. Please make use of the same to post your comments and your questions, and we shall take it post the session. Now, just to give you a quick recap of all our spectacular sessions that have taken place over the 4 days, we've had Mr. Martin Roll, a global thought leader on transformation and leadership, senior advisor, and of course, the best-selling author, speaking to us on how to transform companies and build iconic global brands. Followed by Dr. Eliane Sommers, the executive director, Global Entrepreneurship Monitor, Switzerland, speaking on adapting to a new normal. And she shared some key learnings from Global Entrepreneurship Monitor's 2020 data. Followed by a fantastic Mastering World-Class Research session by Dr. Rahat Munir. With this, I'm sure we all are excited and looking forward to day 5. And participants, we promise the great learning experience will continue as we take immense pride in hosting 2 prominent personalities today. We have 2 sessions lined up on this beautiful evening just for you. Session 1 is on how to become a wealthy entrepreneur by the highly decorated personality, Mr. Sunil Tulsiani. Followed by the future of purpose-driven branding by the father of branding, Dr. David Aarohan. I once again thank each one of you for joining on time. We are due to begin now. Just before we get started, please ensure that you follow all the instructions that we will be posting on the chat box. There will be some forms that you will have to fill in order to get through your e-certificates towards the end of the session, and rest everything will be posted on the Q&A box. Please feel free to post all your questions and we shall take them up. Thank you once again for joining us on this beautiful evening, and it is an absolute honor and a privilege to be welcoming each one of you. Professor Hina Thakur, very good to see you, ma'am. A warm welcome to you. I would now like to invite our Executive President, Mr. Siddharth Sahani, Atlas Skill Tech University, to introduce our first speaker of the evening, Mr. Sunil Tulsiani.
Rohit, thank you very much for that, and a pleasure to see you again.
Likewise, sir.
Today actually is a great day for us. We have none other than Sunil Tulsiani with us, who is the founder of, I would say, the largest and most elite real estate investment club in Canada, the Private Investment Club. Sunil has also shared stages in the US and Europe with Tony Robbins, Robert Kiyosaki, Kevin Harrington of Shark Tank, Jack Cranfield of Chicken Soup for the Soul, and many, many more. Prior to this, in fact, Sunil was a Ontario provincial police officer for over 16 years. So a lawmaker, well, a lawkeeper and an investor. Really a pleasure to have us with you. Before I hand over the stage to Sunil, we have a special video for you. If we could have that played as part of his introduction.
Well, here today we have Sunil Tulsiani, founder of Private Investment Club.
You need to be hanging around people like that, like him, so that you can learn to think and act the way millionaires act. He's an amazing friend, an amazing mentor and coach.
As I said in my seminar, it ain't bragging if you've done it. What Sunil can do is he can give you advice based on his own experience that will save you years of hard work.
That's what his vision is, to make 100 millionaires.
You need to come and be part of this and use the resources, because it's not just you. You've surrounded yourself with all kinds of people in various aspects of the real estate world, the motivational world, the take a risk world, if you will. Yes.
Sunil Tulsiani is a former police officer turned real estate mogul who has bought and sold over $100 million worth of real estate. He's been referred to by the media as the wealthy cop. Sunil is a #1 best-selling author, an internationally renowned public speaker who's been featured on Fox Business News, CNBC, Bloomberg News, CP24 TV, the Toronto Star, and the covers of several national magazines. He's shared stages with Robert G. Allen, Jack Canfield, Brian Tracy, Ron Lee Grant, and many other real estate legends. He's been called the Tony Robbins of the real estate world. Please give a warm welcome to your speaker, Sunil Tulsiani.
Yes, good evening, everybody. I am Sunil Tulsiani, and thank you for having me. And thank you for that wonderful introduction, Siddharji. I really appreciate you.
And it's such a privilege for us to have you with us. I think our students are very excited. More than the students, many of our faculty are very excited who've been reading on your work. And really, thank you for sharing the stage at this international conference where, we have people from almost 80 different countries and even maybe more this evening. So thank you for your magic and look forward to learning from you.
Thank you. And good to meet you, everybody here. And I see Hinaji is here as well. So thank you for inviting me. I truly appreciate it.
Such a pleasure to have you amongst us today. Thank you for coming. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Very welcome. So I'll start right into this because I know we have so many people who are amazing future for our entire world, not only India, but I understand it's international, so all over the world. And so I will give a very short story about me, and then I will get into the 7 steps of becoming wealthy in today's environment. So many people know me as international public speaker, 7 times #1 best-selling author, public trainer, and all that kind of stuff. But I want to tell everybody here that I was born in India, in a small town called Katni, Madhya Pradesh, brought up in New Delhi till I was 12. Then I moved to Toronto. And throughout my life, I was really not a very good student, actually. I was a poor student, and a lot of times I got into trouble with school. But one of the things that I want to tell a lot of people is that growing up, I was told you're not going to amount to anything. You're too dark. You're too skinny. Don't fly too high. Don't ask for too much. Be quiet and don't say much. And just things like money is bad. Money is root of all evil. And you're not going to amount to anything, and all that stuff. So I want to tell you, as you see me today, I have the success. And if there's any student here, that has heard these things, or they were told that they're not going to amount to anything, or they're not good at certain things, or they can't do certain things, I want to let you know the reason why I have become very popular all over the world in US, Europe, Canada, India. I was there in India actually a few months ago, and had the wonderful chance to network, meet, and help so many people, is because you will notice that I don't really have a big, high IQ. I don't have the big backing. I was not well connected with anybody. I don't have anything, let's call it, very special. But yet I have become an inspiration all over the world to everybody that is good, and they are great students, and also to people who are not so great students, and maybe they didn't have the opportunity or chance to be in a university like yourself right now. So whatever situation you're in right now, my focus would be to give you some guidance, but more importantly, to inspire you today to actually do what needs to be done now, and then once your education is over. And a lot of times education really is not over. I mean, it's over in a university setting, but then your real education starts when you get into the real world, whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it's real estate investing, whether you're working for somebody else, whether you're professional. It's going to continue. So as a former police officer from Canada, all I can say to you is that I enjoyed that a lot, but I also enjoy what I do right now. And so what you should do is, if you have a pen, a piece of paper, or anything like that, I want you to know that if you just take notes, the chances of you becoming successful goes up at least 100 times more. Even if you know the stuff, just take the notes. Every time you do that, it really increases your chance of growing. And there's a concept that I have introduced all over the world that gets everybody excited. It's a made-up word, but it's a movement that has spread like wildfire all over the world. And that is this. There's a word that's called plurking. P-L-E-R-K-I-N-G. If somebody from a team can just put that word in the chat box for everybody to hear. P-L-E-R-K-I-N-G. And plurking, a word just came to me. It's not a real word, it's a word, it just came to me. And what I did was I took the word play and I took the word work and I combined it together to call it plurking. And so what I want you guys to do is, first of all, understand the word plurking, and then I want you to live your entire life plurking. So what is plurking? Plurking is something that you like, that you love, and you're making money. Plurking is something that you enjoy, and your time just goes away, and you're successful. Plurking is some part of activity that you enjoy so much that you would do it for free if you were a multimillionaire. You would just do it for free. But at the same time, you make money. But also, so what's not plurking? What's not plurking is, let's say you're doing work, a job, or a profession, or a business. Maybe somebody's at a store that was brought up by their parents and they don't like it, but they're making money. That's not plurking. On the other hand, let's say you're enjoying what you love, like an artist or somebody who plays a guitar or somebody who does something, but then they are not supporting their family financially. Well, that's also not plurking. So the idea is to combine the both and say to yourself, what aspect of my business or activities do I love to do? So what you can do is you can list everything that you enjoy doing, and whether you think you're going to make money from it or not. You know, when Tony Robbins, arguably the world's biggest, most influential public speaker on the planet from US, when he was young, he was told that you talk too much and you should stop talking. But now he's a billionaire because he talks too much and he's on the stage and all that. So point here is, make a list of everything that you love to do. I don't care if you loved video games or you love to help people, or if whatever the activities are, make a list of all those. And that's going to help you in the future in order to get the position that you want to get into, the things that you want to do. So I'm going to get right into this. Let me share my screen with you. Once again, please make sure that you are you're making some notes, please. It's very important that you do that. So here we go. So how to become a wealthy entrepreneur. Thank you for inviting me once again. I really appreciate you. I was in India, where I was on this big stage with Dr. Deepak Chopra, Sunil Shetty, Gaur Gopal Das ji, and many other people. Like here, as you guys can see, this is in the private plane in India from Mumbai with Dr. Deepak Chopra. Robin Sharma, who wrote Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, very famous also in India, I believe, dinner with him. and some of the stuff that I was very fortunate and blessed to do in India. Sunil Shetty at the event with me, and BK Shivani that we were on the stage, and Shark Tank, India Shark Tank, Vanita Singh, Abhishek Bachchan ji, we shared a stage in India as well. So Mark Twain, he says, lack of money is the root of all evil. And I don't think that money is the most important part of our life, but I do think money plays an important role as well. Without money, really, you cannot do what you're doing. You couldn't be at this university. You couldn't have proper nutrition. You cannot live anywhere. Today's environment, you absolutely need money. And so this is a quote that is very important to me. Before we start, during the COVID, if you were to ask me, what's one project, one program that I can learn, listen, and become wealthy, it's called The Science of Getting Rich. It took me 500 hours of my time during the COVID that I produced this audio, video, and a book. It's called Science of Getting Rich. And as I had indicated to the organizers that I would like to give you this gift for free. It would be absolutely free for you. If you want it, you can download it, listen to it. It will absolutely change your life. So it's called Science of Getting Rich. It's for today's environment. It's not it's something that you can do right now in 2023 and beyond. So if somebody, please do me a favor and put this email address. If you want it, you just send an email to my team and they will gift you this entire program absolutely free to you. It's called, the email is admin@privateinvestmentclub.com. admin@privateinvestmentclub.com. It's absolutely free for you. And, after the event or later on, or whenever you want to send it, you can send it now if you wish. You send an email to admin@privateinvestmentclub.com. And in this course, I've given this to all over the world, and it is applicable in any country that where you can do business, where it's a free country. And you can do this. So please enjoy this special gift from me to you guys, because I want to see you become extremely wealthy. Okay, now let's go to the next. So let's define wealth, because wealthy entrepreneur, what does that mean? Wealth to me is money, love, relationships, health, peace, freedom, time, happiness, family, and you can probably add a few more things in there, spirituality, for example, and few other things that are related to you. Now, the most important part about health or wealth, the most important word about wealth is the word A-N-D, and. It's not O-R. So when I was growing up, they were saying, I watched a lot of Bollywood movies, Hollywood movies, and maybe in the past, scarcity was the way to live. And sometimes you have to live like that because situations are such. But in today's environment, we don't have to live like that. So the question used to be, would you like love or money? Would you like relationships or money? Do you want to be spiritual or have money? Do you want to be religious or do you want to have money? Which one do you want? So my answer to that is I want money, love, relationships, and health and peace. Why can't we have all of it? And you can have it all. Now, of course, you have to work for it. And yes, there's going to be some ups and there's going to be some downs, but the focus mindset has to be and not or. So let's say you wanted to focus on 3 things or 4 things right now in your life. It could be maybe your profession. It could be money. It could be health. It could be time freedom. It could be growth. Growth meaning, you want to attract these skills and the abilities that are great for 2023. So you can focus on those 4, and as you attain them or you're close to them, then you can add more to it. Or you can start all of it at the same time. Some of you are young right now, and you're not really thinking about your own family, meaning your wife, your husband, your kids, your extended family. Yes, your parents. Yes, I get that. But I'm just saying to you, the word is and. So everything that I'm saying to you right now, if I'm saying and emphasizing it, even if you say, well, that makes sense, Write it down. Why? Because when you write it down, it goes into your subconscious mind. It's very important that you do this. And I'm here to not only teach you stuff, but I'm here to inspire you to become successful and have wealth to the level that you want. That's the most important part. Okay, now, since you guys are writing, I want you to, that step one is, what do you really want? Like, how much do you want to make per month? How much do you want to be your net worth to be? What is it you really want? Now, if you look at any successful person, the first thing they'll tell you is to write your goal, write what you want. And so this goal is only for money. You can have goal for everything else as well. So only 3% of adults have written goals, but they earn 10 times more. Those 3%. So write the goal down. So here's an example. When I left the police force 18 years ago, I was middle class, doing okay. And then the first year of leaving the police force, I ended up making $1 million, $980,000, $20,000 less than $1 million. I never thought I would ever make $1 million. I never thought I would become that rich. But what I did write was, I, Sunil Tulsiani, will make $1 million and 12 months later date. And I signed it and I dated it. And I put it everywhere that I see, wherever I wake up, I find the washroom, in the kitchen, in the workout place, in my drawer, in my car, anywhere, everywhere I put it there. Because every day, probably like 50 times, I was looking at that and subconsciously believing that I can make. Now, I never thought that I would make close, and by the way, this is in 2005. $1 million meant a lot in that. So that was almost like $80,000 a month. I never thought I could make $80,000 a year. So this is how I started. So if you're writing this down, write down your full name, will make whatever amount, 20 lakhs, 10 lakhs, 5 lakhs per month, whatever you want to make, whatever you feel like you want to make. And not what you're making now, but what you want to make in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever the timeline you want to choose. And this is another thing I did. I made up a check. And in that check, I actually wrote a check to myself under my name. And I wrote $1 million check. I signed it, I dated it, and I carried that check in my wallet. Today, what I do is, and my members of my club we would do that for, is that I have a check that is made of 24 karat gold. It's a real 24 karat gold check. And I have my goal and my check written in gold, because subconsciously we all know, we say this is good as gold. So now I'm carrying 24 karat gold check in my wallet right now, even. And my members, my friends, my mentees, they still do that. It is that important. And if you feel like this is childish or this not, there are stories of so many of my rich friends who actually do this right now. So even if you don't believe it right now, just make up a check that you carry with you in your wallet and look at it every day. And look at it when you wake up, look at it before you go to sleep. Try that. So step 2, monetization skills. This is very important. Let's say you love to help people with health. Let's say you want to be a lawyer. Let's say you want to be in some sort of a business, because we are all in the business one way or the other. Even if you work for somebody, that means somebody above you owns that company and they are in business of selling something, and you only get paid if they're making money. So if they're paying you 5 lakh rupees a month or $10,000 a month, that means they're making more on you than what they're paying you, at least in a long-term basis. So I want you to identify and write down 1 to 3 skills that you need right now to improve or get a job or start a business. What are 1 or 2 monetization skills? So let me give you examples what they can be. For example, a lot of people say they need they need to become a better communicator. They need to become a writer. Maybe they want to write a book. Maybe they want to become public speakers. Maybe want to be trainers, or maybe they want to get better communicator because they want to go negotiate in business. Maybe they want to be lawyers. Maybe they want to do something. So what are some of the skills that will bring money in the future, in addition to some of the stuff that you have learned. Because without bringing money into a business or to the company or for the company that you work for, you are less valuable. It's very important. So you may not be able to make money directly from improving your communication skills, but eventually you will make more money if you do that. So identify 2 or 3 things. Now, in the world, I can tell you, like, we have sales, we got marketing, communication, digital marketing, closing skills, as well as the skill in which you are trying to get into. So let's say you want to be a lawyer, you want to be an accountant, you want to be a doctor, whatever it is. Think about what are some of the things that you can do to make yourself even more specialized, even more valuable to the world. The more value you bring to the world, the more money you're going to make, and more serving you're going to do. Serving is very important. So, obviously you can find author, mentor, trainer who has the results that you're looking for. This is important as you learn from today, is that in addition to learning from colleges and university, finding somebody who has a success and getting them to help you is very valuable. That's, like a mentor. So 10,000 years ago, you wanted to become a warrior, and you would look for a warrior. You can look with your own eyes, say that's a warrior, and say, I want you to teach me how to become a warrior. You want to get a black belt in karate? You look for somebody who has multiple black belts and they can help you. But you can start by looking for authors and buying their books or online courses, and then just focusing on that. And for me, my university on wheels was audiobooks, meaning anytime I'm driving, I'm listening to an audiobook. Instead of, now, not anytime, but maybe like 80% of the time, meaning sometimes I listen to music. But the idea is if I have a 1 hour or half an hour to travel, majority of that is listening to something that is going to grow me. And regularly attend online seminars and in-person events, in addition to the colleges or universities seminars as well. So what's happening in your industry right now? Who is really doing well? Maybe maybe there's an online course that you can take. Maybe you can just attend online, but you should do that on a consistent basis. So that's step number 2. Number 3, you pick a product or service to help others. So keep writing these things down, please. And if you take screenshots or photos, I'm okay with that as well. Identify the activities, like I said, that you love to do. This is the plurking part, right? And see if there's a market for it. Now, there are things that you may love, but there's absolutely no market for it. So then you have to figure out what other things that you love that will bring you money. So real estate, for example, more than 80% of the people on the planet, full-time, part-time, become self-made millionaires because of real estate. We just know that from almost beginning of time. People 10,000 years ago, if you owned the land, you were rich. If you worked on the land, you were poor. It's simple as that. Today, you buy properties, cash flowing properties, properties below market value. If you know how to do that, you're going to be rich. And there are things that, for example, how to do certain things that has no value to the market. Maybe it's value to you, but not to the market. So if you can, grease up the bicycle and it will increase this turning by 5%, it may not have that much of a value and you may not get paid. It might be good for yourself, but it may not make you money. So pick a product or service, not that you think is good for you, but you have to like it, love it, but what's good for the market? And are there people in the past made money from it? And I say one thing, if there's one person on the planet who has done what you want to do, that's a absolutely 100% proof that is doable. Now, if there's 100 people, 1,000 people, million people, then obviously there's a way of doing it. So that is the picking up the product or service to help others. And this is my car, by the way, and you can see the plate. It's called plurking. And I share this with you because in North America and other places, you can actually buy plates legally. And instead of having a normal plate numbers, you can actually buy a plate number. So a lot of people all over North America, my students, different provinces, different states, they get plates clerking. And I'm sharing this with you because every time I walk to my car, it reminds me, what am I doing? Am I clerking or am I not clerking? Am I enjoying and at the same time helping people and at the same time bringing in money? Then that's what I'm doing. So if you, in your country, you're not allowed to have, let's say, then you can make a sticker for the car. And instead of making a sticker that talks about negative stuff, make a sticker that's positive for you. So this is the clerking aspect that I discussed before. Number 4, step 4, figure out who are your clients and where they're hanging out. This is more important. It's also important if you work for somebody, but it's more important if you have a business or you're thinking of opening up your own practice, your own office, your own entrepreneurship business, or you want to work with somebody in partnership where you can help them bring clients. Very, very important. If you're a lawyer, if you're a doctor, if you are a financial planner, if you are fill in the blank and you have no clients, you have no business. There's no business. There's no cash. There's no business. There are a lot of people who told me, Sunil, I am I'm an artist. I'm a coach. I'm a mentor. I help people. I give advice and have a great business. And I ask them, do you make money? They say, no. I say, you have no business. It's a charity. It's okay to give charities. We give charity. We did about 500 eye operations in India, our family and our members. But we know that's a charity. But if you're in business, then it's your duty to actually make sure that you're helping the world and there's money coming into the business so you can pay your bills, pay your employees, pay yourself, and grow, and even market to grow. So who are these people? Think about if you are, let's say you and I are partners and you are coming in and you're saying, I'm going to help you grow your business, then you become more valuable to me. You become more valuable. Let's say you like to do online ads. Let's say you can do Facebook ads. You can do digital marketing. One of the main things you have to figure out is who are the clients? Who are the clients? You can't, like I said, you can't sell meat to vegetarians. It doesn't matter if you give a discount. People who don't eat meat won't buy it. So identify them. And the way you identify is to look at, if you have any ideal clients right now or other ideal clients for somebody else. Their age, their gender, their social standing, where they live, how much they make, are they married, do they have kids? So what you want to do is you want to duplicate those clients by attracting those clients. So for example, you have a practice, you have a business, and you're placing ads on Facebook or Google or anywhere else. What you can do is you can laser target these people on Facebook. So when they're on Facebook, they're surfing, they'll see your ad and they're going to think, wow, this person, it's almost like I'm looking for them and they're looking for me. And these are the people that I want to duplicate and multiply to grow my business. One more thing to understand is this. And people don't understand, especially if they are thinking, I'm going to get a job. There are places where you get a job and you will be fine, you'll be middle class, and you'll get money because somebody else above you is doing all this stuff. But what I'm talking about is how do you become a wealthy entrepreneur, but also wealthy employee as well. If you were working for me and you were a manager, and let's say I was paying you $10,000 a month, and you basically did what you had to do, fine. But one day you came to me and said, I have the skill and I can bring in more clients. And if I bring in more clients on my own time in the evening, can I get 10% of the money that comes in? I would not say no. It makes no sense for me to say no. And then later on, you may come to me and say, I want to be your partner. And I may say yes, because you are more valuable to the company. Or if you have your own business, obviously, it would be more valuable. And also, it's not only for clients, it's for partners, center of influence, influencers, investors, and everybody like that. Build your list or social media following. Now, in today's world, this is very, very, very important, and anybody can do it. Anybody can do it if you focus on doing this. So building your list of email lists where, like, for example, we have about 50,000 people that are interested in real estate. So does it make it easier for our company to grow? The answer is yes. Now, you don't have to have 50,000. You can start with 100, 200, 500, 1,000. If you're in real estate, for example, and you're looking for money, if you have a list of 500 investors, you will be rich. Or if you have a list of 500 potential clients, you'll be rich. It's just the way it is. Or, you know, you have a social media like YouTube and other locations, other channels as well. People will come to want to work with you. Employers would want to work with you. Employers would want to hire you if you do this for you. Now, one of the things I want to very quickly say here is this. If you're looking for a job or partner, or you want to work with somebody, and you wrote a book, let's say, or you wrote an ebook, or you have a social media followers, you know, certain number of followers that looks impressive, your chances of finding business partners, your chances of making more money, your chances of being hired in certain companies at a higher salary would be a lot higher, because you built your brand. You have proven that you can be an asset to the company before they even hire you. And if I had an employee, even at receptionist level, and she came to me and said, you know, I have like 100,000 followers on LinkedIn or Facebook, and somebody else also came and had slightly more qualified, I still take this person if they can both do work, proper work, because I know that this employee is going to promote my company to her 100,000 people and do that. So this can be done for free. It will take some time. It could take a year, 2 years, but look for your niche. You're a lawyer. Well, you're going to start building a list of people who may be interested in you. If you're a doctor, you want certain patients. If you are a financial planner, if you're a real estate investor, if you are a coach, mentor, author, speaker, or any type of service oriented, like a chartered accountant, then you're going to start building a list of those people, and you're going to get paid more, whether you're working for somebody or you have your own business. Number 6, copy successful people. This is very, very simple, yet very powerful. Copy successful people. What that means is that when you become an adult and you see somebody who's done, who has a success that you want, they have certain ways. They act certain way. They study certain things. They have certain rituals. Do they wake up early? Do they still study? How do they serve? How do they communicate? What kind of skills? Figure that out. And if you can hire them as your mentor, or you can go to their events, read their books, or whatever it is, start doing that right now. So here's what you do. You say to yourself, okay, in my field, in my country, or anywhere in the world, who are the 3 to 5 people that I can copy? And then when I say copy, you may not be able to reach them right now, because they're just so busy, they're successful, you may not know, but you can get to them by buying their book, by buying their audiobook, by going to their online courses or events or in-person events, and then eventually work your way. And one day they do that. So when I left the police force, I wrote the names of all the people whose books I used to read, and I had no clue. How am I going to do it? The only thing was I will do it. So I said, I'm going to do business and meet people, write books with, share stages with Oprah Winfrey, Tony Robbins, Amitabh Bachchan, Abhishek Bachchan, Oprah Winfrey, I just said, I think, Jack Canfield, Brian Tracy, Grant Cardone, Robin Sharma, Deepak Chopra. So I had no clue how I'm going to do it, but I had them on my vision board that I will be. And with some of them, I came on front cover of magazines, and some of them I share stages. Some of them have become my partners, my business partners. And I had no clue 18 years ago at all. I didn't have connections, but one thing I knew, that I will do it. That's what, So spend time with wealthy people. Harvard Business School study. They did a study with people, students. They took the same course, and then very few became successful after 25 years. And they went to each of those successful people and say, what do you think made you successful? They named someone. Well, one thing that came out in most of them, one thing was you become who you hang out with on a consistent basis. You become like them, you eat like them, you shop like them, you wear clothes like them, you buy houses like them, basically, you live in a similar area, you become who you hang out on a consistent basis. Oprah says, surround yourself with people who are going to take you higher. Tony Robbins says, if you want to be successful, find someone who has achieved the result that you want and copy what they do, and you will achieve the same results. Tony Robbins. Last one, take immediate action. This is quite important. All of the 6 things that I said, or everything that you do, has absolutely no value unless you do number 7, which is take immediate action. Nothing happens if you don't take the right action. They say journey of 1,000 miles starts with first step, but the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first right step, right direction. Because if you start walking the wrong way, that means now you're going to have to come back. So the right direction, nothing happens. And best time to take action is now. And I want to say one more thing to you. All big opportunities tend to come to you when you don't have the time, when you're not ready, when you don't have the money, when you don't feel like it. So all big opportunities tend to come to you when you're not ready. Remember that. When the big opportunity, when that big partner, when that employer, when that money-making business comes to you, most of the time we are brainwired to not take action. We are not brainwired to take action. So I'm going to give you 2 viruses that are 100 times worse than COVID or any other virus that you can think of for entrepreneurs. 2 viruses that are 100 times worse than COVID, meaning it'd be death of your business or your entrepreneur. Now, I'm talking about if you want to become wealthy entrepreneur. If you want to just get by, you want to pay your bills, and you want to be just like slow and steady wins the race, and you just pay the bills and you have some money saved up. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about if you want to become wealthy in your profession, whatever you want to do. And that is this. Number one virus. I will do it some other day. Procrastination. We are wired to not do it now. Number one virus, there are 2 viruses. Number 1 is I'll do it some other day. Number 2, bigger than I'll do it some other day. When you are buying into a business, or you're setting up your business, or you're trying to learn, you're trying to do things. This will come to everybody on the planet. And that is this. I can't afford it. I can't afford it. It's too expensive. This is the biggest virus on the planet for entrepreneurs. So let's say you wanted to take some sort of a course, or you wanted to learn something, or you want to set up a business, or you want to do this. First thing will come to you is I can't afford it, unless you're already rich. And even if people are rich, they will say the first thing will come to them is I can't afford it. So if you write these 2 viruses down, and whenever you're making decisions, look at these 2 viruses and say, am I infected with these 2 viruses that I'll do it some other day and I can't afford it? So figure that out, and then you will become wealthy. Tragedy is not that you set your goals too high and miss it. Tragedy is setting your goals too low and reach it. We set our goals knowing that we're probably going to reach it, and that's a tragedy. Poverty is the worst form of violence, Mahatma Gandhi. I'm not too sure if it's the worst form of violence, but it's definitely not good if you are living in poverty. For a rich person, it's a rich world. For a poor person, it's a poor world. It's the same world. I could come to Mumbai or Delhi or other parts of India or Toronto or New York, and I can look at those cities from two different eyes, well, many different eyes. But from a poor point, if I had no money and I'm sleeping on the streets versus I have money, I'm sleeping in a 5-star, my experiences are going to be completely different. My focus is going to be completely different. My health is going to be completely different. My happiness and my ability to give would be completely different. Once again, those of you who did not want this, you just send an email to admin@privateinvestmentclub.com. Actually, there's the email again. And if anybody has any questions, and if the team can put the admin@privateinvestmentclub.com in the chat box for the students, I would truly appreciate that. And last but not least, if you guys want to continue to learn from me, I have many videos, LinkedIn, I put a lot of articles. You can just, just go to those. Let's say you go to LinkedIn or YouTube, punch in my name, you'll find it, and you can connect with me at that time. And that's my presentation for the time that like I said, if you guys have any questions, please let me know, and I would love to help you. And I also see there are so many people, I can see them, their faces. I really appreciate you from that time. And people who make notes, people who follow through, and people who actually do things are going to be successful big time. So I want all of you to plurk, and I'll leave it to the faculty members and supervisors and teachers. If you have any questions or anybody has a question, let me know, please.
First of all, Mr. Tulsiani, thank you so much for getting us all, starting to think in more directions than one. All this while, I'm sure that a lot of us have been too, focused on one particular direction in life. Okay, you know what? You go build your career and then look for jobs and then start, settling in. But I'm sure today you've given all of us different perceptions personally to think about wealth creation. I have a question for you, and very few of them know that you started your career as a private detective. So yes. what kind of sparked the transition from being a private detective to a police officer and finally to a successful author today? Because I'm sure that a lot of them are scared to leave the space where they start their first career in. And today they would be more interested to know, how did you make this transition, or how challenging or how easy was it for you?
So when I came to Toronto, I was 12 years old and turning 13, and I was told that streets were paved with gold in Canada. And I literally, as a young man, we were very poor in Delhi. My father was a factory man, and one apple that they used to cut, we used to fight over the 5 pieces as to which which is the bigger piece. And then when we brought mangoes, we used to fight over who's going to eat the center part because it just looked bigger for us. And the fruit was a luxury to us. So I would say slightly above Slumdog Millionaire story. And when I came to Canada, there was no such thing as streets paved with gold. We lived in a poor area in the 80s. In 1981 is when I came to Canada. People here did not like Indian people. We were taunted, swear at. Our parents were, bad words were used for our parents. We had tough times in those days. A lot of prejudice, a lot of people saying, go back to your country, you're ugly, you smell, and you guys are not real human beings, and you're brown and this and that. So we had to endure all these kind of things. And so very tough to go to a high school or public school and be bullied and told that you're worth nothing, and then also seeing that your parents are going through this, as well because we didn't have the money. So we naturally would live in a poor area of Toronto where the rents are cheaper. So it was one of those tough things. And one day my uncle came to me at our home in Toronto and said, you should be a police officer. And then he brought that idea in my mind. I thought there's no way I could be a police officer because in those days, that was not something that you could even visualize. That's not something that you can even say that in Canada, a brown person can be a police officer. And for me, I'm 5'8". I'm 5'8" right now. So not a big person. I was very skinny all my life, and none of that was going for me. But so then I figured out, what do I have to do to become a police officer? And I lined them all up. And one of the jobs that came was private detective, which was basically arresting people who would steal from these big departmental stores. And that became very exciting for me when I was 19 years old, 20 years old. And that was the first fun job, because before that, I worked in a factory, I worked at the gas station, I worked at other places that were not fun at all. And then from there, being a police officer was really tough because no one looked like me in the police force in those days. In 1990, April 23rd, 1990, when I became a police officer, even for the next 5 years in the police force, there was a lot of problems. And but the good thing is, my father told me, work double than the white people. He told me, go there before everybody else, before your shift, and don't leave when everybody leaves. Wait. So one thing that he taught me was to work hard and not worry about whether that person is working hard or not. And then within the 5 years, I started to do things that some of the officers who couldn't do that in 10, 15 years. I went into crime unit. I became a police detective. I worked on high-end drug, murder, and then finally, when I left the police force, in at least in my area, the only brown person who became a platoon commander, and it was struggling. But for the last 6 or 7 years of the police force was amazing, because now people looked up to you. Now things have changed, and a lot of Indians are in Canada, US, and other places. So people are used to seeing a brown person in uniform. Before, when I started, I was the odd, very, very hard. So yeah, it was very tough situation. But main thing was, I knew I'm going there, and I just focused on going there. What do I need? That's it.
Amazing, absolutely inspirational. I mean, in spite of finding all the odds, you had a lot of clarity in mind that this is where I have to head, and that is how you kind of channelized your thoughts into making it a reality. Fantastic. So since we've been speaking a lot about entrepreneurship and what entrepreneurs, need to sort of align their mindset towards, we have a question over here. And the question says that, does charity increase the reputation and business of an entrepreneur?
Yeah, very good question. From us, we had been for years helping people in Canada, women in Africa, people all over. But then last few years, we have included India, because that's where I'm from. When I was in New Delhi, in a house that we finally bought. You see, initially, we used to live as a paying guest in Delhi with the entire family, and we would get one room, mom, dad, and 3 of us. So 5 of us, we would live in that one room. That was our kitchen, that was our bedroom, that was our everything. And then we would share washroom with the landlords and things like that. So, and then finally, my father bought a place in those days, it's Tughalkabad, and in those days, it was like outskirts of Delhi. And we had no toilets, we had no electricity, and we had no running water. So, we had charity come to us and say, in certain area, there's no running water. So then we helped them, because I remember what happened to me. I remember, if you have to go to bathroom, you would go with your friends into bushes, and you only did that certain time. and then you had to worry about making sure you have enough water and all. So I remember all these things, and so I would say that you don't give to charity because you want to improve your reputation for your business, or because you can say to people that you help charities, or because you want to grow your business. You give to charity because it's the right thing to do. You give to charities because you are on this planet to give, to serve. And your level of service is going to define you as a human being. And your level of service is also going to define you as an entrepreneur to grow. Because I can tell you, if the way I look at it is this, if I look at Ambani or Tata or Amitabh Bachchan, instead of saying, oh, this guy makes too much money, they make too much money, what I say now is that they have served the world more than me. That's why they're making more money. Amitabh Bachchan, he's definitely served the world. Ambani's, So the question to you would be, if I want to increase my income, am I serving to the level by leveraging, meaning learn the act and science and the art of leveraging, not only in real estate, but in your business. If you can hire more people who can work for you, that's a leverage. So that's what they have figured out. They've taken the risk, and now they have added most mass value. So does it increase value or reputation for people? I suppose it does. And the way I look at it is this: if you are a person only doing it for the purpose of increasing your reputation, I still like you. I still like you. Why? Because let's say you did it for the wrong reason, but then now 100 people can have gift of eyesight, or 100 people can get water because you helped them out. That's still better than if you made money and you didn't give it. But what you should be doing is saying, you know what, I'm going to give it, and I'm going to, before, when I used to donate, I never used to tell anybody. We never used to tell our members. We never used to tell at an event or anything like that, just like I'm doing right now. Then my mentor came to me, and he said to me, that's very selfish, because I wanted to be humble. I wanted to be like, I don't want to tell anybody. Why tell anybody? But what he said is this: if you tell people, and then from that, you have, let's say, 500 people in the room, and let's say you inspire 10% of that room to go that day and donate, or they also start to say to you, I like to be donating in your cause. I want to help you. So that's what happened with Private Investment Club. We started with, and then we started with the first 100 eye operations in India. And then when I said to people that this is what I'm doing, they came to me and they said, here's $50, here's $100. And so now, instead of doing 100 operations, we did more operations. So if you are in a position of influence or power, you have two choices. One is to keep it to yourself and give yourself. But the other thing you can do is utilize the influence for a good thing. And maybe instead of having 100 people, maybe 1,000 people are going to benefit. So you do it because it's the right thing to do. And what I want to say, Rohitji, is that when I was in Bhopal, India, last year and the year before that, when I went personally and met those 100 or 92, 93 people who had their eye operations done. So I was there post-operation 2 days later, a day or two later. And I met them. I took my son, I took my mother, and we fed with our own hands to these people. And when I saw them, what it did to them, it really brings tears to your eyes, because people will tell me their stories that when they lost their eyesight, especially men, when they lost their eyesight, they lost the ability to work. They lost the ability to take care of their families. And even their family started to say some stuff to them. And he just said, I don't feel like a human being. I don't feel like a man. And he told me, I was on the verge of killing myself. And then somebody came to him and said, you want your eyesight back, and it won't cost you anything. He thought it was a scam and all that. So from the time of picking them up, taking them there, pre-checkups, pre-medication, the operation, post-medication, post-checkups, everything 100%, the food and everything completely free for them, because they can't even eat, but now they can see. So do it because it's the right thing to do.
Absolutely, and I think all of us, second that in plenitude. So, getting to the next question, this is from your domain of real estate, and there's this question wherein the student wants to know that being from a construction family background, and since you understand the Indian context, so being from a construction family background, what are the different strategies in the Indian real estate sector to grow, and what are some of the new opportunities that we could eye in the near future?
That's very good. If so, let's assume that it's a growing area where he is, and so the first thing to understand is that if you can do something that most builders, developers don't do, and that is one thing and one thing only, that is being authentic. Being, even like when we do our business, the way I teach my students and my mentees is this: if you shook somebody's hand and said, I will do it, then you better do it. And if you can't do it, go to them and say, sorry, I cannot do it in the time frame that I said I was going to do it. And this is the reason why I can't do it. And please give me more time, or something like that. So one thing that comes across everywhere, not only in India, but everywhere, but definitely comes across when I was in India right now, which is, I bought something and then what they promised, you never got. And so we went to India to open up, and we have now a private investment club in India. It's Pick India. And we opened up a private investment club. And this idea came, there's no process, there's no follow through sometimes. And then there's also the authenticity issue that we have. So we opened that up to say, let's bring some sort of order, some sort of process of what's working everywhere in the world. Because my members are in Canada, United States, Europe, Australia, everywhere in the world, basically, mostly in Canada, United States. And people from India kept saying to me, I want to be part of your club. We're in Canada. We still had people from India become members. So then we opened that up. And what I would say to you is this: first, you yourself grow you in a way, and do not allow your surroundings, that's like the Harvard Business School, you become who you hang out with. You do not allow your surroundings to say, "Ye to hota hai. This happens, it's okay." Right? And sometimes when I am dealing with my friends, my partners in India, they say things like, it's India, it happens, it will happen. Now, Gandhiji said, be the change you want to see, be the change, right? So I'm not saying it's easy. All I'm saying is that if you actually become and be known that you will do what you say, it is the most valuable currency on the planet. It's not even money. It's actually, can I trust this person is the important part. So for the gentleman that is talking about is first, the second thing I talked about today, steps I talked about it, make a list of investors. Very valuable for you. Because I teach people how to buy properties all over the world, no money down. If you have no money, you can make money. If you have lots of money, you can make even more money. So one of the ways he can do that is he should just focus 80% of his marketing time, or him or his team, is to just keep building a list of investors, people with money, people who are looking for good deals, people who are looking for discounted properties and all that stuff. That's number one. And then, and how do you do that? You go to real estate events like expos, real estate training, real estate shows, real estate whatever. And if you can, buy the most expensive ticket to sit in the front and break bread with the well-known people who are sitting in the front. This is what I did when I started many, many years ago. And that investment could be seen as an advertisement or marketing fee from your point of view. And then you make a list of all those people who are sitting by getting their cards, you give them your cards, and then saying to them, what does you want? The problem I see is that people, when they meet me the first time, the minute after they meet me and they say, I have this kind of land, can you lend me $1 million? This is within minutes of meeting me, and I have no idea who they are. What they should do, what people can do, is they should say to the other person, your clients, your investors, and all, what brought you here? What is it you're looking for? What kind of properties are you looking for? Maybe I can help you with this. And then at the end, I used to say to them, if I come across what you're looking for, may I refer that person to you? May I send that opportunity to you? Not saying anything about what I want. So here's something that this is so beautiful. You create a lose-win situations with the people who are doing much better than you. Not win-win situation. You create a win-win situation with people who are less fortunate than you are, or they're maybe on the same level as you are. If you're going with somebody who's 10 steps ahead of them, you have to create a lose-win situation. And what's a lose-win situation? You lose first, and they win first. What does that mean? If I'm putting up an event and you don't know me, and you say, I want to come and volunteer for 2 days, don't pay me anything. I just want to volunteer. I expect nothing in the return. That's a part of lose-win, because somebody who's coming in could give you no compensation, but would you not get in the eye of the main person and say, who is this person doing all this work for free, right? And here's another example. A copywriter. Let's say you like to write copy, or you like to write, or you have some sort of stuff that you want to sell to me. I get this all the time. They'll connect me with my team. My team then selects, okay, should we accept this person on LinkedIn? Let's say they say, I want to connect with you. So let's say we connect with them. Then immediately they send an email saying, I can do your website, or I can write for you. I can do this. So what they can do is they can say something like this. I checked out your LinkedIn profile, and I've been doing it for last whatever years. And I have rearranged the LinkedIn profile for you, not on LinkedIn itself, but I have done it on a Word document. I have written it for you, which I think will bring you more business, more clients. And if you want, you can use it. If you don't want, that's fine too. And I'm not charging you anything for it. Would that person would I not be more inclined to respond to that person saying thank you, right? So that's what you do. You create a lose-win situation. When a student comes to your university and they want to grow, their lose-win situation is they're giving two things to you that are very valuable. They're giving you their money, and they're giving you their time. And then in return, you're giving them this valuable education experience and all that stuff. So they are creating a lose-win because they are trusting that this university would give them something. So that's still, if I want to meet Amitabh Bachchan, or if I want to meet somebody, I say to myself, what's my lose-win situation with him? How can I make it so he is enticed to want to work with me? He doesn't know who I am, but how can I do it? How can I work with, and by the way, if you guys are sending me requests on LinkedIn or somewhere else, whatever, please say that you were you were attending at this university, because I have a team that, sees because I can't accept everybody in there because there's a limitation on every platform. But if you send it and you say I was at this event and I was inspired, whatever it is, send me a personalized note. Then chances of you getting accepted is a lot higher. So point here is very simple. Create a lose-win situation with somebody that is much higher than you. And that is really how you get pulled up by them. Because if you don't come into my radar, then chances of us working together is very little. So let's say you're a real estate investor or developer. The first thing that people come to me and say, give me your money. And they don't even know who I am. I get emails in Hindi sometimes. Sir, we have 2 bigha zameen. क्या आप लेंगे उसको? I have no idea where this is. I have no idea who this person is, and I can do it. I remember my team sending out an email to my list. I have about 40 or 50,000 people, and they say, somebody's going to win 1 hour of lunch with Mr. Tulsiani. And then we have like 10,000 people. They all want to have lunch with me. So what you have to realize is that somebody who's very successful, the number one thing that they protect is their time. So create a lose-win situation, build a list for this gentleman, and maybe this developer may want to check out, Private Investment Club if you want to check it out, because our goal is to help make 100 millionaires in India, and millionaires, multimillionaires. It's just a word basically, and do it in a way that is authentic, that helps people, that helps grow people as well.
Well, thank you so much. That was absolute food for thought, Mr. Tulsiani. Also, just to put it on record, it answers at least 3 or 4 questions back to back up here. So thank you so much for that.
You're very welcome.
One question. We've been following the news of massive layoffs globally, and one question pops up over here is that, what would you say to the leaders that are getting fired in Fortune 500 companies lately?
I would add, not only for Fortune 500 companies, but let's say the students right here who are thinking of getting into some sort of business, or they're thinking of working for somebody. They want to become professionals in certain areas. So any level, let's talk about it. And that is this. During the bad times. So what happens is majority of the people lose. And then there's a small group of people that actually make more money than they have ever made in their life. So I was talking to Robert Kiyosaki of Rich Dad Poor Dad, a private meeting, and he told me that in 2008, when the big crash came, everybody was losing money, especially in the United States. And he said that he made more money in 2008 and 2009 than his entire life before that. I started in 2005. And from 2005 to 2008, we generated millions of dollars. In 2008, I lost all the money. So all this beautiful story about how successful I am and all that stuff. In 2008, I lost all the money. In fact, I went into debt, because when everything crashes, then everything goes. But then I made more money because there was a crash. So what I'm saying to you is that focus on becoming so valuable to the world that during the bad times, we need better, stronger heroes. We need better, stronger employees. And we need people who are going to help support and grow and build or rebuild what has been crushed. A lot of people right now in Canada, United States, and all over the world, a lot of places, a lot of world, especially with real estate, they're struggling. They lost their jobs, business revenues have gone down, and some of them are still working in the old mentality of what used to work. So for example, as an example, if I was to say you should open up a business with payphones or PCOs, or where people pay to call. See, it's a silly business. It used to be great maybe 25 years ago. So what's working right now is the fact that if you come with the intent of growing you and then adding value, more value to other people, and at the same time being authentic, doing what you say you're going to do, your jobs are secured. Your business is secured. Maybe they're going to lose their jobs, and now they're going to say, I'm going to open up my own business as a leader, and I'm going to hire people, and now they build $1 billion business because of that. So my suggestion is, if you are an employee or you are an entrepreneur, know that the least valuable employee loses first. If I need to fire 10 people and I had 20 people, the first 10 people were not going to be the best people. It's just the way it is. So ask yourself, are you the best person? If I have an assistant, I was telling my assistant the other day, if I have an assistant and that assistant left for 3 days, 4 days on holiday, and I come back, she comes back after 3 days and I don't miss it. I have no idea that she left. That's not a good news. If my assistant says to me, may I take a day off tomorrow? And I'm like, how am I going to operate this business without you? That's how you know you're valuable. Without you, the whole machine, like you may not be the whole machine, but your part in that machine is so valuable that even the supervisors and the managers and the owners are going to want you there, and they are willing to pay you more for it. That's how you know. So you do not ask for more money from your employer because you feel like it, because you've been there for 3 years or 4 years or 10 years. You ask for more money because you're valuable for that money. So you will know. And your boss sometimes will give you money before you even ask, or if they don't give it to you on their own, then you basically go to them and explain to them, this is what you have been doing and you love being here, but you need a raise, and you will get a raise for that, or else they will lose you and somebody else will pay them more. Right? So I would say to you this: some of the tough times in the world is coming. It's coming. Because there's no way, if the United States falls it's similar to what happened in 2008, and then Europe, China, UK, Japan, that we won't have an impact. Now, we're very lucky, right, so far. India is doing very well, and I'm very optimistic about India's growth, but it will have an impact. So that impact will be so beautiful for hopefully most of the people here, because they're going to do the right thing. But it may not be the best, so beautiful thing for people who are not prepared. They're not adding value. They're just hoping and thinking that everything would be okay. I just have to just do nothing. So you set yourself up right now for challenging times. And during challenging time, actually nobody loses money. What happens is this is like millions of people, or billions of people, and this is a small group of people. The money just gets transferred over to these people, mostly onto these people. That's it. It just goes to the people. So you, as an employee, become so valuable to me. If I'm your employer, become so valuable that I cannot fire you even if I want to. Right? I can't. I mean, I have amazing staff that I have. I don't, the non-amazing are not going to do well. So that's my answer for you.
Well, fantastic. And all the ones who've been waiting for quite some time to ask your boss for a raise, I think now you have all the courage to go up there and, voice your opinion and probably place your request before them. Thank you so much for that, Mr. Tulsiani. I'd like to now take this opportunity to welcome our founding president and chancellor of Atlas Skilltech University, Dr. Indu Shahani, to please speak a few words.
Induji, good to meet you.
Such a pleasure to listen to you. I'm sorry, I was in another meeting and I managed to finish the meeting, and I was in the car, and I was hoping I'd make it home by the time that I can, say my last few words. So, one thing that resonated with me, Sunil, was if I may call you,
sure.
Was the thing about the mango that you talked, and how a family always fought. And I don't know, I should say it, but it's very typical of our surname that this is a characteristic that happens in our homes. And we've also we were 5 brothers and sisters, and we always fought for that one central piece. But anyway, I must say, right from being a police officer and now to being such a motivational speaker, it's been an amazing evening for my students here. And we do hope, Sunil, you'll find time to come to, as Rohit keeps calling it, at last. So it's not at last, it's Atlas Skilltech University, Rohit. But at last he will come to us sometime. So, and we also say that at least we managed. I was in a meeting with a few educators, or few vice chancellors and chancellors just before this, and they were talking about how private universities are going to be now play playing an increasing role of access to education in India. Because India has, as you know, the largest demographic dividend. And with that, public universities have played a very important role. Traditional private universities have played a very good role, but definitely the newer universities and younger universities are going to do a lot more. And just to say, we are just 18 months old. And, our first international convention that's taking place now. And it's been amazing to have all of you with us. And I must really thank Dr. Varsha for, spearheading this whole thing so quietly. And suddenly, boom, she comes up with this entire volley of speakers and such brilliant discussions. So Canada is great, but come to India, and now I promise you we won't fight over that mango.
Well, I am coming to India in September. There's going to be a big event with Rich Dad Poor Dad in a stadium. I think they're going to have 5,000 people. That I'm coming. I'm going to be a keynote speaker there in September. So about 6 months from now, or 5.5, 6 months from now. So where's your university? Is there a physical? Is it, or is it all?
Yes, very much physical. And we are at the BKC, the Bandra Kurla complex.
I stayed there. I actually stayed there 3 months ago. All my time in Mumbai, I stayed in BKC.
Okay, so it's just a walking distance, and we are a campus within corporates. So it shouldn't be difficult for you. And we are just 15 minutes away from the airport.
Yes. Well, I want to thank you all for having me. And I want to say something before I finish off to everybody here, is this, that my biggest reward in life right now, other than plurking, is to spread the idea of plurking to the world. And when somebody sends me an email, text, or whatever the way they connect with me, and say, it changed my life, or changed this, or I did this, or what, the change that I want to be the inspirer of people to do and have what they want to have and become what they want to become. That is the biggest reward that I get. Yes, I like money, I like growth, I like business, I like that. But I like being on big stages and Bollywood stars and Hollywood stars. But above all that is when one person comes to me and says, you changed my life, my family's life, or I'm doing this because of you. So all of you who are here, my request to you is to please do something about what you have learned, not only from me, but all the wonderful speakers. And it's not easy to put this together. And all of you, I believe it was Dr. Varsha Agarwalji who connected with my team, and she should get, she's the one who put this together. So congratulations. And this is a lot of hard work for all of, the entire university to put you there. The whole purpose is for you to become successful, and success gets defined by you as to what you think is going to be fun for you, and how much money you want to make, what kind of donations you want to do, and how you want to serve the world, because we are all serving the world at the end of the day. And I say to you, start serving the world today. And in that world, you also belong, meaning don't forget serving yourself as well. Thank you. God bless you all.
Good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
so much.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Dear participants, hope you all are having a great time learning. Please do not forget to fill your online forms, which will enable us to send you your e-certificates post the summit. Every single session will have different forms that you'll have to fill, and post which we shall get your e-certificates ready and shall send the same back to you the minute we conclude the entire summit. Thank you again for joining in time this evening. We have one other session starting in a while from now, and it's none other than the father of modern branding, Dr. David Acker, joining us in a while from now. I'm sure you all are as excited as we are to the next session. We are looking forward, and in a while from now, we shall get started. And again, do not forget, please make the fullest use of the Q&A box to post all your queries, and we shall take your questions from there.
It's just all about creating that impact. If you've not made someone's life better, none of that innovation means anything.
I ask them a trick question sometimes. I say, where does money come from? Does it come from the Reserve Bank of India, ATMs, parents? And then the answer is none of the above. Money comes from exchange. You only get money when you make someone else's life better.
As Atlas Skill Tech University, we want to produce designers with a heart, managers with a heart, and technologists with a heart.
This is literally our campus.
It's beautiful aesthetically, also highly equipped with technology.
There's lots of inspiration around each corner that we have here. You fall in love with the place all over again. You fall in love with the idea of why you chose to become a designer.
We have a design school. You have a business school. There is an AI ML school, which is data sciences.
Every semester we get to choose an elective which is not only from our school, but we can choose from any of the other schools at Atlas.
One day we have a student in a robotics class. The next day the same student is visiting the stock exchange. On a third day they're working on a stage and set design in the NCPA.
Our curriculum is designed in such a manner that Mumbai becomes the lab for them to learn.
Mumbai as a city is an emotion.
It's a plethora of cultures, exhibitions, trends.
It's just the vibe overall for someone who's just 19, 20, looking to make their place in the world.
When the bird wants to fly and explore and be on their own in a safe environment. And I think Mumbai gives you all of that. I am so thrilled to be in Bombay, and that too in the heart of BKC in a business park.
We're a hop, skip and jump away from over 500 organizations. So imagine the kind of access an Atlas student would have.
Leading industry, leading academia, and having leading startup leaders in our advisory board.
So you're creating an experience and testing that experience, whether that experience will work in the industry or not.
More than 40% of our faculty come from the industry. That's one of the reasons why we are able to so confidently say that our students are relevant, and they will remain relevant.
The other thing that we have is the need to do internship and apprenticeship after every semester.
The opportunities are immense. We've got pre-placement from IBM, Deloitte, Infosys is coming in, Zook's Innovation.
They're in such diverse industries like Apple, TCS, PwC, Dharma Productions, House of Masaba, House of Gucci, Manish Malhotra, Sabyasachi.
All of my batchmates who wanted a capstone project landed with a capstone project. The ones who wanted to go for their further studies landed at very good universities.
We've got great curricular partnerships with Parsons, with Vancouver Film School,
University of Bath, Nottingham Trent, Bristol, LSE, Southampton. Atlas really helps you with the collaborations that they have.
At Atlas, we're preparing highly entrepreneurial talent that will not only be the job seekers but also be the job creators of the future.
They are further chiseled, right? It's a sharpened sword.
By interning in the summer, it really gave me a confidence boost to start my own social media agency called Misco. Currently, I'm handling about 15 plus brands.
We have a network of around 80 to 100 freelancers.
I've wanted to recreate the Jaipur foot in under 30,000 and do so in a way that adds value to every single member of society.
The philosophy of our school is to help our students invent things, patent things, launch businesses, and make a positive impact on themselves, their families, their communities, and on this country.
I wanted to go for the army, CIR, that is Center for Artificial Intelligence and Robotics.
I personally am satisfied when I can see that there's a smile on someone's face, or I've made their lives better.
I walk around, I see class buildings, and I imagine myself at the top of them.
I just didn't want to become a CEO that would take over the world. I wanted to become an artist that would take over the world.
Creative people are always, I think, going to flourish in the industry, and we're going to change the world.
My personal takeaway from it is that one of the things I try to teach my students is that you need to be really adaptable and really flexible, and if you have those skills you can work anywhere.
I think Atlas has an international perspective, which is learning from other academics. We all learn from each other, we all inspire each other, but we all kind of look for innovation and how we can bring that innovation into our students.
Atlas's International Faculty Week is an absolutely fantastic endeavour. It's an amazing opportunity for me. It's been fantastic to meet the students, meet the faculty, to be in this kind of environment.
Atlas Skill Technical University is the kind of place I wish I'd studied at as an undergrad. So Atlas has done something which is probably quite unique in this region.
I can see the skills and teaching going on. We'll also be really impressed with the faculty. I think we have to remember that your faculty are important in delivering to the students.
Atlas is concerned with the real future of its students. I think the way it's been set up is to think about or to address the question of what will be the best outcome for the student in 5 years' time.
It's a very hospitable university where you have a
very large group of very motivated and passionate students that are very skillful.
Please stop video. Dr. Akar has joined us. Please give him co-host access.
Testing 1, 2. Can you hear me now?
Yes, Dr. Akar, we can hear you loud and clear. Greetings to you, India, and good morning to you. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining in.
Yeah. How come my background is white?
Well, I think that is the initial setup that we've had for the entire event. We have a common background theme for everyone. So you're fine. You're absolutely okay. We have the logo on the right hand side. So it is actually a theme. It's a virtual background that we've created just for the summit.
You can hardly see it's not very clear. I mean, is that you have to use that background, huh?
You have the choice to remove it, sir.
How do I do that?
Yes, no worries.
Tanuj, can we help sir to remove the background in case if he wishes to do that, please?
Yeah, I think it'd be a better picture. Let's see. Full screen. Okay, now I got it. All right. How would I remove the background? The white background. Under video. It says blur my background, choose virtual background, choose video filter.
We'll just do it. Tanuj,
Sir,
please, can you do it?
sir, just choose virtual background.
So can you please click on virtual background?
I did that.
And then you can select none.
Okay, yes. Good. I think that's better. It's clear.
Sure. All right, so welcome again, participants, to this most awaited session of the evening. Before we get started, like to invite our founding president to speak a few words. Over to you, Dr. Sahani.
Thank you so much, Rohit. And a warm welcome to you, Professor David Akar. This is Atlas Skill Tech University's first global entrepreneurship and management summit on sustainable ideas for business. And, we are so happy that you are going to be one of our, founding speakers of this university. We are only 18 months old. We were a university created in the pandemic, and we are a skill tech university. And this skill tech university is new and it's a campus within corporates. With this, I would just like to say that as the Chancellor of the university, it is indeed my privilege to welcome you here. I've been a professor of marketing myself and have had the privilege of learning from your books over the years, 17 books that I have read over the years. But your book, Building Strong Brands in 1996, and your Akar model that you created, I have even taught it all over the world. I was invited many years ago to the Haas Business School for a summer program, and I was teaching international students there, and we went through the Akar model during those sessions. So with this, I would just like to say thank you so much for being here for us. Our students are eagerly awaiting your session, and all the books that were there in the library by David Acker was picked up, and we couldn't get a single copy because the students wanted to go through and see what you had written before they met you. So we are a skill tech university, and we have 3 areas which we focus on. We focus on design and innovation. We focus on management and entrepreneurship, and of course, technology. We are a Bachelor of Technology in AI and ML. So with this, a warm welcome to you. And again, it's an absolute privilege for me to be speaking to you, because I have taught your subject for many years, almost over 30 years.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. So is the share program work?
Yes, we can see your slides.
You can see the slides. Okay, that's good to know. Well, anyway, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be in Mumbai and to talk to this group of so involved people. And so I thank all of you for having me. So what I want to do is to talk about the concept that it's really important for organizations to understand and address social problems, and we have some real threats to our society and to our business community, but they also represent opportunities. So what I want to leave you with is the idea that it's very important to create branded signature programs that impact serious social challenges and provide energy and an image lift to business brands. And I'll also go on to talk about 3 branding trips, because in this whole concept arena, you have to build a couple of big brands, and these branding trips will help you. These are things you may not have thought of before. And then we'll have some Q&A, and there's a chance, if you want to get into another area that I'm very interested in, and that is how as entrepreneurs do you engage in disruptive innovation, which in fact is the only way to grow to create a new spot in the existing marketplace. So I'm going to start with 2 stories. I'm going to talk about Dove Real Beauty and Sir Christopher Wren, an architect that lived in 1690. First, Dove. Dove is was introduced in 1955. That's 65 years ago. It was introduced as a beauty bar with moisturizer, and they sort of a signature image was pouring cleansing cream into a bar soap. Well, more recently, in around 20 years ago, 2003. This moisturizer and cleansing cream didn't work so well for some of their new products like shampoo and deodorant. And so they were looking for a new way to be relevant for the marketplace, for the women that bought their products. And they did a study, a global study, 10 countries, and they found that under 3% of women believed they were beautiful. So that really got them, gave them confidence in the concept that they could play a role in redefining beauty for women. Don't have to be young, you don't have to be thin. And so they created a program called Real Beauty. And they started off with some ads that ask people, is this person gray or gorgeous, or withered or wonderful, fat or fit, flawed or flawless? And that really struck a chord. And millions of people really resonated with that basic message. So they started the program that's been going for 20 years. And every year they do something different practically. One year, they got a sketch artist to draw a picture of a person based on their self appraisal, their self-description of themselves versus a stranger's description of the same person. And in each case, the self-image turned out to be very less attractive than the strangers. And so they pointed out that you are more beautiful than you think. That in 2013 was the most viral ad ever created in the history of time. They got 180 million views. And that's sort of typical in the Dove Real Bill program. They got, again and again, they came out things with resonated. And then they developed a self-esteem project to try to reach teen girls to teach them self-esteem, because it's a real problem in this day of social media. They reached nearly 70 million people. They got 2.5 million parents or mentors that used the content that Dove created. So as a result of this program, hundreds of millions of women and teen girls were transformed, literally transformed. They got higher self-esteem, better, more self-confidence. And the Dove brand was energized. In the first 10 years, sales went from 2.4 billion to over 4 billion. So it was really a home run. Let me give you a second story. It's the story of Christopher Wren, this architect in London, the one that built this St. Paul's Cathedral. He was walking on the street. He asked a woman, "What are you doing?" And that worker said, "I'm laying bricks, and look how good my bricks look." He asked the next workman, who said, "I'm building a wall, and look at my wall, how straight and fine it is." And he asked the third person, "What are you doing?" And he said, "I'm building a cathedral." Employees today want to build cathedrals. They don't want to lay bricks or build walls. So what that is saying is that business needs a social purpose and social programs. There's enormous societal problems. There's a climate change. You see pictures like this all over the place. There's inequality, where the rich get richer and the poor get poorer and suffer more. Employees demand it, but so do customers and others, even investors. Some younger employees won't work at companies that that don't have a social purpose and programs. And the fact is that business can contribute to these programs. Business has relevant resources. Business has agility and flexibility. And finally, business, it turns out, needs the energy and image lift that a social program can provide. So how do you go about do this? Where do you start? Well, one place to start is with a business purpose that has a social element. You know, just growing sales and profit is not good enough. Even building insanely great products is not good enough, or providing the best customer service. You need a social purpose. A purpose that really enable people in the organization to create social programs, even encourage addressing societal problems. One way you can do that is you have a business purpose that does just that. It includes the social purpose within its content. So Profit, the firm I'm connected with, is about unleashing the power of people, businesses, and brands to move society forward. So that's a purpose that guides the business, but also provides a rationale, an umbrella to do society programs as well. But sometimes it's good to have a business purpose and a social purpose. So, for example, Salesforce has a business purpose to empower companies to connect with their customers in a whole new way. That's what Salesforce was formed to do functionally. But they also have a social purpose. You know, it's all around technology when used for good can change the world. So they have they have the philanthropic crowd, they have the environmental cloud. So they have a lot of their software devoted toward social purpose. But what most companies do is they really get on board. They really have a belief in the concept of a social purpose and social programs. And so they start running fast. They start doing things. And what they end up doing is they have grants, they have volunteer programs, they have energy goals, they fill out 100-dimensional ESG questionnaires, and that's just simply not enough. It comes off as sort of being random, not directed. It comes off as being the same as all other companies. It comes off as maybe tokenism, and it generates skepticism actually as to what these companies are actually doing. So what is more relevant in my view is you need signature social programs. Within that effort, you need signature social programs that really represent for you the purpose culture of the business. So somebody comes to somebody at Dove and say, what do you do? And he said, let me tell you about the Real Beauty campaign, because that reflects who we are. It should represent a real society need that touches people. Like the Dove program, you know, the women get that. They really get that real beauty is something that's needed. It has to be something that really has impact. It's credible. It represents commitment. It's just not a fall promotion. And it has to have a strong brand. And that's really important. So a brand adds value to the signature program. It represents commitment, because if you brand the program, that means you're committed, because branding costs money. You put the brand Real Beauty on the campaign, it means that you really have commitment. It guides the whole program. Real Beauty, it tells everybody involved in the program what it's about. This brand and what it stands for, not just the name. And it inspires. It inspires employees, it inspires customers, and it inspires these hundreds of millions of people that have been touched with the campaign. And it communicates. A brand helps you gain attention. It helps you remember. It helps you process information. I mean, that's what brands do. So it's really important. It's branded. And as I say, you can look at the program of many large companies and you don't even see a brand. Now, there's two kinds of branded signature programs. And the first is the concept of an internal program. The Dove's Real Beauty is an internal program. It's owned by Dove. It's resourced and managed by Dove. And it's connected to the Dove brand and the Dove business. It's sort of a member of the you know, it sort of is the Dove business strategy. Real Beauty is what gives Dove visibility and energy and image lift and all that. And so it's intertwined with the business model. And that really is best done when you have this internal program. But it's not so easy to find an internal program. You have to find one that's not too narrow. Sometimes you can find one that reaches a small part of your customer base or employee base, but it's not broad enough. It's hard to find one that's not already taken. Somebody's already got the idea. It's hard to find one that's actually doable by your organization, that fits your organization, that's not out in left field and precipitated skepticism. And no matter what, there's going to be a cost and risk. Maybe you go down a path, you invest, you commit, and it doesn't work out very well. You're not getting much impact. Yeah, you know, the people aren't reacting to it very well. And so there is an alternative. And that alternative is to adopt as your signature program an external nonprofit. So you find a nonprofit that owns a need space that you're interested in, is proven, it works, it impacts, there's no startup risk at all. And it already has a brand. You don't have to create a brand. So let me give you an example. Thrivent Financial and Habitat for Humanity. Thrivent is a Fortune 500 financial services company. They got 190 billion under management. It was started over a century ago as an organization to help people in church congregations. So it has a sort of give back concept to it already. One of their taglines is to give generously. That not only applies to the Thrivent organization, but a lot of its clients that it's giving financial services to helps them give generously. Their purpose: humanity thrives when people make the most of all they are given. So it's not just about managing your portfolio or giving you insurance or just simply financial services. It's about making humanity thriving and being a part of that. Thrivent adopted Habitat for Humanity in 2005 as one of their signature social programs. So that's 18 years ago. Habitat for Humanity was developed in 1978 by the Fullers, who were working in in sort of a group community, and they had already had a successful venture and made quite a bit of money, and they were looking for purpose in their life. And they got the idea of getting people that need a home to help build it. So they developed Habitat for Humanity, whose purpose is to end the poverty around the world by providing shelter to those who need it the most. So they developed teams that would go out and build or refurbish homes for people that needed them. And they're inordinately successful. They built 39 million newer homes. Now they're building at the rate of 7 million per year. They now have over 100,000 volunteers a year. They're now in 70 countries. They have 84 separate US chapters of Habitat for Humanity. And so they have they've got 20 major partners like Thrivent. Thrivent's not their only one. They have about 20 of them, but Thrivent is the biggest and most important. Now, a signature program has job one is to impact the social challenge, but it has a job two, and that is to enhance a business. Now, there's general acceptance that business enhancement is needed. You know, this book, Purpose plus Profit, you hear that a lot. Grow the pie. That means to have the business expand because of the social program and therefore benefit. In Harvard Business Review, classic article in 2011, Porter and Kramer said that business needed to create shared value with the signature programs that they adopt. But all these efforts talk about the social efforts should enhance a business by creating offerings that work for society. And that works fine if you're a windmill manufacturer, you make organic food. And also you can enhance a business by reducing cost. But reducing cost doesn't work either because, first of all, after you reduce the cost, it's not very inspiring goal anymore, because now the cost has got there's not much cost you can now reduce. So the Signature Social Program allows you to enhance a business brand, enhance a business by enhancing its brand. There's 3 dimensions of a brand's equity: energy and visibility, image, perceptions and feelings, and engagement by employees and customers. Now you can, in almost all situations, a business brand needs these things. It needs energy and visibility, it needs image enhancement, it needs more engagement. And a signature program can provide it. So that's really the best vehicle for most organizations to gain from having a signature program. So let's look at how that looks. So with the Dove Real Beauty program, that enhances the Dove brand, all those 3 dimensions. The Habitat for Humanity enhances the Thrivent brand on all 3 dimensions. Now we know, I've done 3 studies that have demonstrated that if you elevate the brand, you will elevate the business. In fact, the effect on stock return by improving brand equity is almost as great as the effect of ROI. So we know if we elevate the brand, that's worthwhile doing. It'll pay off. So let's take a look at what Thrivent receives from having a signature program, Habitat for Humanity. First, they get energy and visibility. Now it comes mostly from their 2 million customers and their 100,000 or so employees. That's where the energy and ability is most visible, but that's a pretty worthwhile audience for Habitat Humanity, because these people are active and volunteering and giving money and so forth. So they get energy and visibility among that important group. They give an energy lift. There's an emotional connection here. They asked their children of people moving into new homes to say, what does this mean to you? And they got some very emotional quotes. It gives an image lift, supports their values. They live generously, saying this is a real good proof point. And it gives an engagement opportunities, a volunteer outlook. And it's ownable. Thrivent developed its own brand called Thrivent Builds. And that's a brand that oversees the engagement of their employees and customers in going out and building homes. But it's not only that the Signature Social Program elevates the business brand, it does that, gives it an energy and image lift, but it works the other way too. Because when the business brand is elevated by the social program, it has resources and endorsement and motivation to reinforce and help the Signature Social Program as well. So you've got a pinwheel effect here. And that's certainly true at these cases. Let's look at what Habitat gets for the association with Thrivent. They get a predictable funding and volunteers. They get 20 legacy partners, of which Thrivent is only one. Thrivent alone has been responsible for $295 million of funds. Thrivent alone. 6.2 million hours of volunteering time. Thrivent alone. So when Habitat develops a budget for the next year, the Thrivent partnership has already supplied a good portion of that. Visibility, the website, the Thrivent website, the Thrivent communication budget, especially the internal communication, gives Habitat let's see. Well, there we are. It gives Habitat a considerable visibility and energy. And of course, it's within the Thrivent community. I mean, the Thrivent community, that is, but that's a big chunk of people. And then it gives an endorsement. You know, all kinds of nonprofits are greeted with skepticism. Are you really going to do this? Well, Thrivent has endorsed them. Thrivent could pick other nonprofits. Thrivent picked Habitat. So that gives Habitat a really persuasive endorsement, and it gets them engaged supporters. So these people, the Thrivent community, they're engaged. They either go out and build homes in Africa, or they know somebody that did, because one of their colleagues probably did, because it's so widespread in the Thrivent community. So you get this thrive here. The Habitat helps Thrivent, and Thrivent in turn is encouraged, motivated to help Habitat. Now, there's a risk for having a social program. It sort of it can engender a lot of skepticism. It can cause people to suspect that, well, there's tokenism here. Maybe they're just talking. This is just talk, not action. It can come off as self-serving. It can come off as greenwashing, and so you know, especially, you know, it'll come off as saying you're just doing this to help the Thrivent brand, which of course is true, which makes it even more delicate. So how do you demonstrate that's really not the motivation? You can do it with commitment. So when you see that Thrivent is sponsoring Habitat for 18 years in a major way, talking about it with passion, then you have a sense this is authentic. If you notice that you know, Dove has a lot of knowledge, in-depth knowledge about what real beauty perceptions are and how and the damage they do, that demonstrates authenticity. And if you see just this transparent passion, that will demonstrate authenticity. So that's really an important consideration. Okay, so we talked about branded signature programs and how they have to impact social challenges and also provide energy and image lift to business. Let me just now talk to you about 3 brand building tips that apply to the 2 key brands here, which are the branded signature programs and the business brand. So first, use signature stories. To communicate the signature program is so important, but in the face of media clutter, information overload, and skepticism, it's not easy. So enter what I call signature stories. I wrote a book once called Creating Signature Stories that expands on this idea. But basically, stories work. Well, let me tell you the story of Barclays. In 2012, it was the least trusted major UK brand in the least trusted industry. And we know trust is important. You know, it's right up there with price and quality as a purchase criteria. And all of Barclays' efforts to rebuild trust failed. Until 2013, they developed a new purpose to help people achieve their ambitions, which is an umbrella that allows for social purpose. They created 40 employee-initiated programs, and one of these programs was the Digital Eagles, which taught people how to thrive in a digital world. It started with 17 employees. There's now 17,000 in the Digital Eagle family at Barclays. And these people did kids coding and safety, online courses, tea and teach programs, house calls. And then they created stories about some of these efforts. One of them was about Steve Rich. And Steve was a soccer player that had been injured and he was too old to play soccer now. So he started to play walking soccer. No running, no contact, 6 per side. And they helped Steve Rich create a website to raise interest. They helped him have keywords, understand keywords, and helped him connect people through the website with teams. And so people, if they wanted to join a team, could find out where to do so on the website. Put information on schedules of all the leagues. He organized a national championship. And it was just a very impactful thing. And and they did videos of Steve Rich. And one of them showed, it was the 3-minute video. And you got to know Steve Rich. You saw him in his car talking to his grandson. You get to know his wife and learn what change this made in Steve Rich's life to be able to play walking soccer, to interact with his mates, and to make new friends, and to have such an influence on this sport, and to see so many of his friends now enjoy soccer again. Very emotional video. You needed to cry at the end. You really got to know what was going on. And as a result of this video and others like it, from early 2014 to early 2016, less than 2 years after they put out these videos, trust went up 33%. 5 times what they were able to do in their conventional advertising that said things like, we're different now. Barclays has changed, and we have new programs. And besides, we weren't so bad as you think. That didn't work, but this did. Consideration of Barclays was up 130%. Again, 5 times what it was under more conventional approaches. By 2015, positive press mentions were at 5,000. I mean, think about that. 5,000 positive press mentions. Before that, you couldn't pick up a newspaper or listen to a TV business program that didn't have something really bad to say about Barclays. I mean, Barclays was blamed for the 2008 financial meltdown, in part because their role in the LIBOR part of it, which is an interest rate construct that they were able to manipulate. And the digital eagles made it happen. So why do signature stories work so well? First of all, they gain attention. When you talk about facts and descriptions of their product or something, people just don't care. They don't pay attention. And if you don't get attention, you've got nothing. They persuade. There's no counter arguing. There's no, yeah, but what about? People, it's a story. You don't counter argue a story. And you gain liking. If you like Steve Rich, if you like the idea of walking soccer, if you see people resurrecting their lives, you're going to get a strong liking for those characters in the story. And liking will get transferred to the brand. In psychology, we call that affect transfer. And it's very real. It's been proved again and again. And you get people engaged. They get involved in the story. It's like reading a novel or seeing an absorbing movie. You get into the story, you get engaged. That's how signature stories work, and just providing facts does not. Second tip, try to build brand communities. A brand community is a group of people that have a shared involvement or even passion in an activity, issue or some interest area with an exemplar brand website as the focal point, almost always. And it delivers social and self-expressive benefits. Belonging to this people tells people who I am. And it gives me a social outlet, gives me people I can interact with. The poster child, the classic brand community is called HOGS, the Harley Owner Group. And these are groups of Harley Davidson owners that bond together in a community. They go on rides together. And they share information about rides. They share information about motorcycles. And it's who they are. And belonging to that group gives them really self-expressive benefits, social benefits. It's amazing. And functional benefits. They learn about trips and so on. And so for most organizations make products like bar soap or financial services. It's not motorcycles. Nobody's interested in getting together and talking about financial services or bar soap. But they are interested in talking about Habitat for Humanity and building homes and your last experience. And they want to see pictures of your last experience. They want to share and keep together with that group that went to Africa and build some buildings. Thrivent has organized their 2 million members into local chapters by zip code. So you have a Thrivent membership group in your community. And they do local charities, community charities, but they also are part of Thrivent Builds. And they do that. But so the community, they have a community at the level of the group of 20 people that were in Africa building. They have a group of people in that local community, that zip code community, and they have the total membership group itself. Dove self-esteem product. I mean, these parents and mentors that form communities of people, and they share experiences and information about how you create these teen girls and give them self-confidence. Now look at what the branded community delivers. It's really extraordinary. Belonging. I mean, that's a basic goal of every person, to belong, just to belong, to be accepted, to be respected. Self-expression. This is a way to express yourself. Who are you? Well, I belong to the Thrivent Builds community. I belong to the self-esteem community. This is the people that went through that course with me together. Social interactions. So you have people you can talk to that have a common interest, and you get trusted information. You get information from a source you trust. And all this creates affinity to not only the community, but to the brand, to the Dove brand, to the Thrivent brand. And finally, a final tip: find your silver bullet brand. So you ask yourself about your social program that you've adopted or you're internally developed. What makes our program special? What is its secret sauce? Is this secret sauce less visible than it should be? Or even hidden? Well, one answer is to give it a brand. And we call that a silver bullet brand. And that's a brand that provides energy, differentiation, or a source of credibility to a social program. Gives it energy, differentiation, or credibility. That's what you need. The program needs all three of those things. It needs the energy to be seen, to gain engagement. It needs differentiation. It needs a reason to be. It needs to be different. Why would you talk about it if it's the same? And it needs credibility. You have to say, nah, they're just talk. No, it has to be credible. And it needs more visibility. It needs a stronger brand. And a silver bullet brand can help the program brand. Let me give you an example. Lava May was developed in 2013. That's only 10 years ago. Denise Sandoval was living in San Francisco, and she saw 3 neighbors evicted from their homes, elderly neighbors, on the street. And she walked by a disheveled young woman panhandler who said, "I will never be clean." So she looked into the access to showers for the homeless, and she found they were almost non-existent. So she decided to create mobile showers. So she converted a bus into a shower place, and she went out and gave showers. And as she started this organization, this effort, she, at the very initiation, she said, we're going to be different than other organizations serving those homeless. We're going to treat them as friends. We're going to express interest in them. We're going to engage in radical hospitality. She branded it. She branded this style of operating. She branded, I mean, who does that? Radical hospitality is our philosophy, meeting our unhoused neighbors. She calls homeless unhoused, wherever they are, and delivering extraordinary care. So everybody at Radical Hospitality, the volunteers, the staff, the donors, and their clients, the homeless, they all know what radical hospitality is. That defines Lava May. It defines it. And now this Lava May has evolved to a company that has scaled to the point where it spends most of its time now helping other organizations start Lava Mays in their town. They've helped over 100 organizations throughout the world start these things. So that's impact. And that's what we look for, is scaling. So that's what I hope you take away from this. Creating signatures, branded signature programs that do 2 things. They have to impact serious social challenges. That's job 1. These challenges have to be emotional, touching. They have to be real. But second, to provide energy and image lift to business brands. And that does so many things. But one of the main things it does is it helps business do things that some of them have great difficulty doing any other way, getting energy. They just can't do it. They make bar soap.
So you need to unmute yourself.
Unmute.
Okay, when did I go on mute?
Just now.
Just now. Okay, so I don't know how this works. It's still a mystery to me. It's really amazing when Zoom works at all. And so it's just amazing, not that this happens, but it's amazing it doesn't happen some more. Let's see. Now my screen is locked. Oh. Okay. We're back on track. So so we want to take away, create branded signature programs to drive a business, drive a social program that works, and to provide energy for lift to a brand. And I've talked about 3 brand building tips that you probably don't think of is in your day-to-day world, because these are not widely used, but they're so powerful, all three of them. And so we started off by talking about the need for this and the fact that social programs do it, the fact that you have a flywheel effect, and so forth. So anyway, all this is in my book called The Pursuit of Purpose-Driven Branding. And I have some good news that I'm excited about, and that is this book is going to be published in India in about 2 months' time with Indian examples as well as American example. It's done by Professor Varja Jay, and so you can soon get this book not only with the Western examples, but also with Indian examples. So anyway, I will be glad to take questions, and if you want to, as I said, get into branding and disruptive innovation, that would be fine. Or any topic around branding or marketing, I'll be glad to deal with.
Thank you so much, Dr. Aarohan. Well, all the beautiful insights you brought in pertaining to branding, I'm sure it has been absolute food for thought for all the brilliant marketing enthusiasts out there. Thank you so much for all the wonderful insights that you've brought in today's session. We truly appreciate it. Participants, before we get into Q&A, Dr. Aarohan, I'm happy to share with you that this summit has witnessed some of the record-breaking numbers in terms of views. Right now, we have crossed over 58,000 people watching us live. And this is something that we take absolute pride to be sharing with you at this moment.
Wow, that's amazing. That's just phenomenal. Hello to everybody out there from California.
Right. And before we get on to the Q&A, dear participants, I would like to take this opportunity to highlight some of the most important achievements of Dr. David Aarohan. As we all know, Dr. Aarohan is a recognized authority on branding and has developed several recognizable concepts, including the Aarohan brand vision model, and has received numerous awards for his contributions to the science of marketing. In 2015, he was inducted into the American Marketing Association Hall of Fame for his lifetime achievements in marketing. In 2020, he was the recipient of the State Foundation Medal for exceptional contribution to marketing, scholarship, and practice. He's authored and published hundreds of articles and written over 17 books. And the best part is that his books have been translated into 18 languages and have sold over 1 million copies. His words and teachings have offered guidance and inspiration to marketing leadership at many of the world's leading brands. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd love to make a special mention. It was 7:45 a.m. for Dr. David Aarohan when he had to join this particular session. And his commitment to be with us over here that early in the morning speaks volumes about his commitment as an individual. Dr. Aarohan, we are truly privileged to have you with us here today. Thank you for all your consideration and your kind acceptance. It really means a lot to all of us.
Well, I really appreciate being here. And I've really become a sort of, I feel India is my second country, because in the last 2 years, one of the benefits of COVID was that people now accept remote talks. And so I've been able to speak to the Indian business community and student community. And it's really been gratifying for me to do that.
Absolutely. And now for the Q&A, I'd like to invite Dr. Varsha Agarwal to take it over from here.
Thank you, Rohit. Sir, as you mentioned that And we all are grateful for your contributions for the student community, academia, and everybody. All of us are getting very much benefited from the learnings which you have given to this entire world, especially in the area of branding. I have two students of mine here who are actually very much interested in asking questions from you, and post which I will take some questions from our participants who have joined us from more than 60 countries over YouTube Live, and some of them are present on Zoom as well. So first a student, Sneha Srivastava, who is our MBA student, would like to ask a question to you, sir. Sneha, please go ahead.
Hello, a very good morning to you, sir. First of all, thank you so much for this insightful session. So, we talked about loyalty and credibility while we were discussing signature, like how signature processes can enhance business brand. So, I would like to ask,
You're
does
breaking
loyalty
up.
result from those? Oh, am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, just one line. Ask your question.
I'm having a hard time hearing.
No worries.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, now I think it's okay. So be sure to talk slowly.
Varsha, you repeat the question.
Yes. Sneha, please tell me the question. I will take it for you.
Does loyalty result from those are the two factors, visibility and dependability, as well as from all the other possible psychological influences that draw people in?
So let me simplify her questions for you. So she basically wants to ask that when we talk about the loyalty towards different brands, what's the most important factor?
Well, loyalty is a spectrum, and you can have very strong loyalty from people that have no affinity to your brand, but they just habitually use it, and your brand doesn't do anything to cause them to stop. So you can get a very influential loyalty from people that you don't have much of an opinion of your brand, but they have no reason to stop buying it. So that's the lowest level of loyalty. The highest level of loyalty is what I talked about in the brand community, where you engage the I think the key to the highest level is engagement, involvement. It's important to them. It delivers self-expressive benefits. Just using the brand sort of tells people who they are. It tells themselves who they are. And so the ability of the brand to gain engagement and to deliver self-expressive benefits is the highest level of loyalty. And that's why I discuss brand communities, because that's a way to generate that highest level of loyalty. That's why social programs are so potentially valuable for a company. So for a Thrivent, for example, they have customers out there that went to Africa to build homes, or they had family members or friends that did that. In any case, they saw Thrivent in a they just didn't read an ad about what Thrivent does. They were involved, they were engaged, they were part of a community. And you look at the Dove people, the girls that went to that self-esteem course that was sponsored by Dove, and they had Dove materials and used and so forth. And they became a part of a self-esteem community that Dove was also a part of. So they got engagement, involvement. And so that's the way I look at loyalty, that we want to strive for that highest level of loyalty.
We have next question from our student, BBA, Keshav Nagpal. Keshav, please ask your question.
A very good morning to you, sir. Being a real estate enthusiast, my question to you is, what do you think is the ideal branding strategy for a company that is into construction or real estate?
Well, I think that I think that pretty much all the branding things apply to almost to all contexts. And you know, the kinds of brand pillars or brand elements or brand associations that you have will differ. And so if you're if you're in a construction business, you're in a B2B business, what usually happens there is that the organizational values and the organizational processes become more important. And if you're and maybe brand personality is less important. And so how, you know, what you end up with will probably be influenced by the setting, but almost all of the principles and the processes and the things work. Now, several people mentioned the Acker model, and the Acker model really has two important tenets. One is that a brand stands for more than one thing. It stands for 8 or 12 things, 3 or 4 are the most important. That's the first tenet. The second tenet is you don't pre-specify what are the brand pillars that are going to be important to you. You don't have a fill in the box model where you have 10 boxes. You have a personality box, a values box, an attribute box, a benefit box, user imagery box. You don't have that. You ask, what should my brand stand for? For me, in my context, given my strategy, given my competitor set, given my customers, what do I want my brand to stand for? What will differentiate? What will resonate? What will be credible? And so that's what you want to do. So if you're in real estate, you know, the same thing is true. You don't going to use the same dimensions as somebody that makes soap or makes financial services. You'll do whatever is important for your real estate audiences that you're trying to reach, or your your employees, or your company.
Thank you so much, sir. So the next question comes from our participants who asks that what's the most important part which initial startups can focus upon as they have limited budgets for branding?
What is the most important what?
For small entrepreneurs who have very less budget for branding.
Okay. What is the most, yeah. That's a really good question. I've worked with a lot of startups, and what I see is almost always is these startups will focus in on their idea, and they'll surround themselves with people that are really conversant with that idea and able to move it forward. And secondly, they're worried about resources, funding, so they can keep going. And they usually don't have extra resources to put into marketing or branding. And even if they do, they don't have any natural access to branding resources, to people especially that know branding. And so that's usually when they finally finish the product, they go into beta test, it works and everything, say, now we're going to go to market. They say, wait a minute, don't we need somebody in branding or marketing to help us? Well, it would have been much better if they would have done that earlier. And so that's a universal problem. And it comes down to, it basically is the brand name, just the brand name. People at the last minute need a brand name, and they don't have any chance to find the right one and to make sure it's available in all countries, and make sure that a URL is available and so forth. So that's a good question. Having said that, I think that early on they really need to sit down and even if they don't have the background and experience, just ask themselves, what do I want this company to stand for? And if you just ask that question, that'll help a lot. You look at Salesforce, in the earliest days, they knew they wanted that company to do social good. And they developed the 1% rule. They're going to spend 1% of their product, 1% of their time, and 1% of their funds doing social good. That was in the earliest meetings. You know, the earliest meetings of Lifebuoy soap, for example, another soap that's very good, big in India. One of their earliest meetings, they were going to develop a soap to help cure cholera in England. That was the mission. So you know, at the very early days, you really want to think what you stand for. Now, one of the classic questions you have to ask yourself is, do I want a brand, a name and an image that helps me get started? Or do I want a brand that allows me the flexibility to spread my wings after I get initial success? So it's a trade-off between initial success and long-term strategic flexibility. And it's not an easy question to answer. So Amazon, when it came out, was criticized. They said it should have been called books.com. Now, if it was called books.com, they would have had a much better chance of being successful initially. But they said, you know, they had enough confidence. Well, we'll overcome that handicap, and we'll call it this name Amazon. It means nothing to book lovers. But in the future, we want to do more than books. We want to do everything, in fact. And the Amazon name it was very powerful in that regard, named after the river in South America. So, but that's a question that almost all startups need to deal with.
Thank you so much, sir. Now we have a next question from Dr. Indu Shahani.
Yeah. Good morning, Professor Aarohan. I had a chance to welcome you shortly, but just to say that I was looking at your presentation and I saw that you talked about Dove, and we could see what Dove stands for in the brand that you talked about. Now, Dove is a product of the Unilever, and so is Fair and Lovely, which was introduced in India for many, many years, called Fair and Lovely. Now, you have a company. What does the company stand for? Does it talk about Dove as being, trying to really be for every age group and for every community and every type of a person? And here you had a contrasting brand, which was Fair and Lovely. And the same company was actually creating both the brands. What do you feel about that?
Well, a better example to make your point is the Unilever brand Axe. That's a brand that I think it's called Axe, something like that. Anyway, it's a brand that is a deodorant brand that very flamboyantly would say that young men could get women that would tack them if they would wear this deodorant, because women are so shallow that that's really what they care about. And so they had all these beautiful women tacking men, and it was an embarrassment for Unilever, because they're making Dove, which is to save the self-esteem of women. It's very contrary, right? So they say, how can you have Dove and make that claim and have Axe, and that's so negative? And so it was difficult for Unilever. But Unilever has 400 brands. They have 100 really big brands. And what they do is each of these brands run their own business. And so what they did was, first of all, they have a corporate mission and purpose. And so Axe does not fit that well. But that's okay. Axe is allowed to do their own thing. But Axe is the people at Axe were uncomfortable. They were made to feel uncomfortable. It's like they're welcomed into the home. It's like if you do a party and you have a family member that dresses strangely, you still welcome that family member into your home, but he's felt uncomfortable. You know what I mean? And that's what Axe felt uncomfortable. And they developed a policy of when a brand satisfied the Unilever objective, they made them a sustainable brand. They got a status within the organization. They had 26 of them a few years ago. I think they have 35 or 40 now. And so of all their brands, not all of them are sustainable. Not all of them do live up to the Unilever thing at the highest level. So within the company, they have lower status. And but Axe was allowed to do their own thing. And about 5 or 6 years ago, they realized, A, they were tired of being uncomfortable in the family. And B, their message wasn't working very well anyway, because people were getting cynical about this message and others were getting irritated with this message. So they changed to become the brand that makes a man live up to his potential. And not, it's a complete change of Axe. And Axe then became a sustainable brand. They joined the family. And you know, one of the really wonderful stories of social effort is Pepsi-Cola. And an Indian lady, Indra, I think she was born in India. She's just was a marvelous CEO. Well, the major product is carbonated sugar water, and with caffeine. I mean, it's terrible for you. And they got all these sugar snacks. And Frito-Lay has got all this salt and all this fried food, and it's terrible for you. So what can this woman do with Pepsi, who says, I'm going to make things healthier? Well, I mean, there's cynical people that say she can't do it. And she's made a huge change Frito-Lay still makes unhealthy snacks, but they're not as unhealthy as they once were. Pepsi still makes sugar water, but they don't make as much as they once did. And now she's added about 6 or 7 healthy food into the Pepsi umbrella. She's made a dramatic change in Pepsi. But if you demand that everything at Pepsi suddenly become an organic, no salt, no sugar product, that's not reasonable. So I think you have to give credit to that woman and to Pepsi-Cola. And I think you have to give credit to Unilever for all the stuff that most of their products have amazing programs. Lifebuoy, Help a Child Reach 5, I talk about a lot in my books. And their program in India, they got the videos of which got 44 million views. Anyway, you have to give credit to Unilever for what it does, instead of attacking them for having Axe and maybe some other product that don't live up to your standards.
So actually they changed the name. They changed the name of Fair and Lovely, and now they call it Glow and Lovely.
Well, good for them.
Okay. So thank you so much, sir. So before we end this session for the day, we have a small surprise for you. With your permission, can we, Tanuj, please? We know last month it was your birthday, so we are just wishing you on behalf of our entire university. hope you enjoyed. This was a small presentation by our students for you with lots of love and respect.
Thank you so much. That's really very impressive, very meaningful, and very thoughtful.
And our entire university is watching you live, and it would be great if you can say some few words for our university and wish our university and students.
Well, I'm so impressed with the whole university system in all of India, and certainly yours, but others as well. It's really quite amazing what contribution that business education has made at your university and others, because India's done so many impressive things. They've got so many impressive business leaders that have come out of these programs, and I think that you do a continuing, ongoing service to your country.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I'm sure all our students are happy, and it's one of the rarest moments they are enjoying in their entire education life. Entire university is grateful to you.
And we also want to tell you that there is a direct flight from San Francisco to Mumbai. Air India has started the flight, and I'm sure it will be very comfortable, and we look forward to seeing you in Mumbai at Atlas.
Oh, okay. I'll have to research that.
Yes.
I would love to come to India.
We would love to host you.
Yeah, I need a time machine and just get me there without the flight. But anyway, I will look into it. Thank you for that.
Yes, it will happen. But Air India is very comfortable, and it's now taken over by the Tatas. And so you will have a very good flight.
Oh, yes. Tata's very impressive organization.
It is. It is. Thank you. Thank you so much. What a wonderful morning and what a wonderful evening we've had.
Good. Well, thank you. Thank you again for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
All the best.
So dear participants, this brings us to the end of day 5 of the Global Entrepreneurship and Management Summit, Aarohan 2023. Before you leave, do not forget to fill in the online form in order to obtain your e-certificates. Thank you once again for joining us this evening, and we eagerly look forward to welcoming you all tomorrow. Tomorrow, we have a spectacular session lined up for you, wherein we'll have the founding president and chancellor of Atlas Skill Tech University, Dr. Indu Shahani, speaking on the future of higher education, and the director of IIM Bangalore, Dr. Rishikesha T. Krishnan, speaking on leadership, agility, and resilience. Thank you once again for joining us this evening. Have a blessed night. Keep smiling and keep your frown upside down. See you all tomorrow.